Okay, everybody, for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, I'm going to ask you all if you could not text me during this event, because you know what? When you're up here and you're moving around and you hit, like, all of a sudden this wall of text appears in front of you, it's like hitting a brick wall. So it's really painful. And I know there's a lot of brick walls in here, and it's a lot like that, right? It's very uncomfortable. It can really throw you off. So please don't do that thing. Also, you're going to notice this raised up stage I'm standing on. If you could stay off of this, I'd really appreciate it. This way, nobody blocks that big display behind me, right? And it gives me a little bit of room to move around and do the whole hosting thing, right? Also, you may notice in the lower left, that menu wheel, at the very top of that, you're going to notice that there is a microphone icon that kind of looks like this over here, right? If that microphone icon is clear, that means we can hear what's happening in your environment. Right, we've gone ahead and we've turned that to red, and that means that you're muted. So if somebody comes in your space and says, "Hey, are you still on that thing?" We're not going to be able to hear that. But you know, like maybe you have like a barking dog in the background, right? You won't face social ruin by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? Now, just because you're muted does not mean you can't express yourself. You are going to notice that on your menu wheel you have a pink cheeked smiley face, and when you click on that, your emoji panel is going to open up in front of you as if by magic, and it's going to offer you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. You are going to notice, for example, that if I share something really deep, powerful, and meaningful, and you feel it building up inside of you, you can let it out just like that and let it flow, right? Just like that. Now maybe I've got some backup dancers backstage, right? And they come out here and when they break into It's Quest Time the musical, and you're all very impressed. You can throw up the applause that I could live for and take the moment to drink it all in because it feels good, right? Now maybe I ask you guys a yes or no question. You can say yes by smiling like this. You can say no by frowning like this. Or maybe I say something funny, right? And you want to show me that you're laughing. You can do the silly face emoji like this, right? And then there's this thing. This is by far the most distracting of all the emojis. Okay, I think we can agree on that. This is not how you ask a question. It seems like you're raising your hand to do that. We're going to be taking questions and comments at the end. What we use this for here, right, is this is how you let me know something's gone wrong, right? So if I'm up here and I'm moving my hands around, I'm all animated, and you're like, wow, this guy moves around a lot, but he's not saying nothing, right? This is suddenly stop talking. What's going on? You'd use that. Or maybe, the moderator's like, we got Dorian here helping us out today, right? And maybe he's seen one quest time too many and he's had enough and he's just, that's it, he's done, right? So he's going to just burn down the set. And all of a sudden there's these flames behind me, but I don't know because I'm standing up here, right? Then that's the pact that you and I, the audience, have, that together you're going to let me know when stuff like this happens, right? But if I see one hand go up, it might be somebody messing around, so I'm going to keep on going, right? But if I see 5 of them going up at one time, I know there's a problem that I need to address, right? Now, you can also press this X button. That'll close your emoji panel, but it's a good idea to keep it open during events like this because it gives me feedback, lets me know how I'm doing, but more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, right, that means they found something funny, and you may not agree. You might be like, well, I don't agree with that at all. I'm going to go stand over here. I don't know what's with this guy, and you can do that because this is VR. So you can't stand right here because this is a stage, and as we previously agreed, you guys weren't going to do that because we've got this pact. We've got this agreement. This is our bond, people. All right. Now, what's Quest Time about? Quest Time is an event for Oculus Quest users, right? So if you're on a device, feel free to hang out because everybody's welcome. But you may pick up some useful information on how to use a Quest to your advantage in Altspace, all right? And that's mainly what this is about. But before we get going, I'm going to ask you guys some questions if you still got those panels open, right? How many of you are actually on a Quest right now? Let me see some hearts if you're on a Quest. Show me some Quest love, right? Or maybe use both your good hands, throw them up in the air like this, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm on a Quest. This is like that, right? Okay, so a few. All right. You guys see some 2D people here too. That's cool. All right, so let's see here. How many of you are you have come over from an Oculus Go to a Quest? Anybody? Any former Go users? Okay, cool. We got Dave over there, former Go user. Always on a Quest, feeling good. All right. How about how many of you are new to the Quest? You recently got your Quest, or you're about to get one? Okay. Oh, that's cool. All right. How many of you are new to Altspace? Any new Altspace users? A chance to welcome you. Welcome to Altspace. You guys are going to love it. It's cool in here. You're going to have a good time. Wow, a lot of new users. Okay, cool. That gives me some idea how to set out, so thanks for that. All right. Now, when I was first waiting for my Quest to arrive, right, I was on an Oculus Go for a long time. And, I'd gotten used to it, but, I didn't feel like I was expressing myself as fully as I could because, I grew up in Brooklyn, so I talk with my hands a lot, right? A lot of people do there. And on an Oculus Go, you only have that one controller. So I kept basically going like this, right? You know, and one hand going. So I couldn't wait to get this hand so I could go like this, move them around and do all that kind of thing, right? And what happened was when my Quest arrived, I took a good look at the controllers and I'm like, you know what? These are a lot of buttons. There really are. There's a lot to take in if you're a new user. So I like to go over this stuff, but I like to do it in a fun way because if you already have a good handle on these controls and you're like, I already know all this stuff, we're going to do some fun exercises and stuff that'll help everybody skill up quick. And if you're a new Quest user, you'll be able to get a handle on things quickly. This way, everybody gets something out of it, right? All right, but no, listen, if you're here today, I know you already know the basics, okay? Like, you know that left thumbstick's going to move you around like this. You know the right thumbstick's going to turn you around like this. And you know if you combine them, you can go in these big, elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. If everybody could do that, go in these circles, when I look out, it's going to look like you guys are ballroom dancing. Let me get a good look at this. Let me see. What do we got here? Oh, nice. Very good. Very good. Very cool. All right. What happens is, too, I always say I wish you guys could see what that looks like up here. And now you can. Because if you look up in the air, you'll see we get Raven Eye floating up there. That's our YouTube camera. All right. And we usually post them within a week or so. So if you go to YouTube and you do a search for Ravenhall events or Ravenhall Labs, you'll find our channel. You know, and you'll be able to see yourself and, you know, you wave. You want to feel Altspace famous, you can wave on out. And I can say, hey, look, we got MRK over here in the blue in this red and white shirt. We got Eric over here in this green shirt. We've got God. Yes, it's true. He comes to our events. He does, right? But yeah, we got a lot of people in here. Come on in, Altspace. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, now let's take a look at some of the stuff that we got here, right? The first button that we're going to talk about is the grip button. You're going to notice on the right controller and the left controller, right on the side, your middle finger touches this grip button. And this is how you're going to interact with your environment in Altspace. It's how you're going to grab, you know, basketballs. It's how you're going to grab, you know, skyrockets and all that stuff, and how you're going to interact with the World Editor if you're part of the World Beta program. And, you know, also you can try these out here. Grab some of these. Let's throw some of these out in the audience and see how my arm is there. Grab some of those. You can throw them at me if you want. Maybe they'll be like tomatoes here. You know, throw onto those. Use them grip buttons, people. Just grab onto them and just use them. All right, cool, good. And those and throw them around. All right. Now, you know, you're going to notice too is that some of the behaviors on these buttons here, all right, they're going to change the behaviors of other buttons, right? So if, for example, you grab something in the World Editor, right, and you're in that World Beta program that I just mentioned, and you grab an object, you go to turn right with your right thumbstick, you're going to find that all of a sudden the object gets really big. And you go to turn left and, you know, the object gets really small. Well, the reason that's happening is when you're gripping something in the World Editor, your right thumbstick, the behavior changes. So if you move it right to left, what's going to happen is the size of the scale is going to change. If you move it up and down, the object's going to move away from you or move closer to you. And it's important to keep that in mind when you, you know, when you're building worlds there with your own two hands, right? Another button to keep in mind here is this left trigger button. Right. And when you press this down, you're going to accelerate. Right. So you're going to go back and forth like this. You're going to go faster like that. Right. Maybe I'll throw myself in the audience. Maybe we can make like a giant circle here. Maybe we can make a hurricane. Maybe we can make a tornado. Maybe we can make it rain. All right. If you're feeling sick, don't do this thing. But if you would go in a circle, let me see what your formation is like. Let me see. Take a look at this. All right, people. I got to say, I'm very disappointed. I showed up today. Where are you? I don't see. This isn't circular at all. This isn't even a figure eight. This is like I got a couple of people moving around the room. They're at least trying. Okay, I'm very disappointed. All right, let's try something else. Let's see, what else do we have here? You have also, you know what? If you're having a room scale experience, by the way, and you're standing, right? You ever notice when you walk out past that main menu, for some reason, that's when somebody asks you to open your main menu, and you're like, oh man, looking, where is this thing? It's getting old real quick, and you're looking all around, and it's always behind you, right? You know, it's important to remember that on Oculus Quest, the main menu is in your hands at all times, right? So if you take a look on your left controller down toward the bottom, you've got this flat button. You can feel it out with your hand since you can't really see through your headset like that, right? But that flat button on your left controller, what that's going to do is it's going to open and close your main menu, all right? And that's great if you lose, you know, your menu wheel because it's going to bring it right up back in front of you too, all right? You know, because as soon as you close that menu again, you'll have your menu wheel back. So if you're looking for your emoji panel, that's a quick way to get to it. But yeah, if you walk out past your main menu and you've lost where your menu is, you can get it very quickly just by pressing that flat button on your left controller. That helps out a lot. Now, also on either controller, you have this teleport button on the right and left controller, right? Now, I'm hoping you're in a line dash teleport because it's a fun transition. Feels like you're flinging yourself across the room. Like I like to think of it as zip lining. And if you line up along this wall here, if everybody's willing to do that, and you hold down on your right teleport button and aim at the floor, you're going to see the circle appear on the floor. That's your teleport target, right? And if you aim it across the room to that like brick wall on the other side by those windows, right? As soon as you let go, boom, you get thrown right across the room. Everybody teleport on over to me, right? And come fling on over here, right? Now hold down that left teleport button on your left controller and do the same thing. Aim over at the other side there. And as soon as you aim at the other side, as soon as you let go, right? Boom, you're going to get thrown back just like that, you know, the other side of the room there. Now, another thing you could do is you can make an X by holding down both of these teleport buttons. And as soon as you let go, right? Zig and zag. right? So you can kind of zigzag by using them both at once. Another thing you can do that's pretty cool is if you face the stage area here and you start moving backwards and you hold down on that left accelerator trigger there, right, and teleport at the floor, you'll be doing the Altspace moonwalk, which I sincerely hope is not a trademark or copyright violation in any way, because that's not what we're trying to do. Another cool thing you can do, right? A few weeks ago, actually, it's about a month now. You're always learning new stuff in Altspace, right? I'm standing out here, you can tell by now I come into the audience a lot, right? I come down off the stage a lot, I move around a bit, and I'm down here, and I got the audience kind of crowded me a little bit, and I need to get back on the stage. And I don't know why I never thought to do this before, but I reached over my shoulder, right? And I teleported backwards onto the stage. That's right. You can teleport backwards. You can do it with your left hand, too. Let's take a shot. Boom. There we go. There we go. Teleport backwards. Do that. It's a lot of fun. All right. Now, another thing you can do here is, let's see, when I first came into Altspace on a Quest, right? I went in the campfire to check it out, and I noticed as I looked around, all the avatars were much shorter than I was. I was like, how'd I get so tall? Since I've got my Quest, I've grown taller, I've grown bigger, right? But that's not what was going on. I looked down and I realized I was floating this high off the ground. Is somebody willing to change their vertical height for me by lifting up a little bit or, coming down like a little bit slightly there? There we go. Big Set, come on over here so people can see you. Come on up to the front. Just glide on over here. Right, very good, very good. Now show everybody what happens when you press down your left thumbstick, like it's a button. Boom. Just like that. That's called recentering, right? So if you feel you're too tall or you're too short, you just press down on that left thumbstick and it'll readjust you, right? Another thing you can do, keep in mind when you do this, if you're looking down when you do it, right, it's going to lift you up because it's attached to your head, right? So now when you make it level like that while you're looking down, that changes the level. So now my feet are off the stage, right? So if I look straight ahead and I press that left button, boom, I'm all taken care of. So that's all you got to do, right? All right, now another thing you have here is, let's see. Covered all that. That's good. Okay, cool. All right, another important button, and don't press this now because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it. But this button on your right controller down toward the bottom, right? That's like your Oculus Home button. I like to think of it as an eject button because it really is the best way out of Altspace. Because if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, dinner's ready, something important like that, you just hit that flat button, you hit quit, and it's going to close the app, right? And you take your headset off, you're good to go, right? But it's also a good thing to press when things go horribly wrong. Right. So let's say, you turn your head and the screen kind of like moves with you. Right. And that can make you feel real dizzy when that happens. Right. You just press that bottom button there on your right control. You hit quit, you close it and you're out. It's a good way to escape when things go wrong. Right. Or let's say that, maybe, you look to the left and there's a black void over there and you're like, oh, it's a black void. And you look to the right and there's another black void up, down, all around the edge of the screen. There's a black void and all your friends are frozen in space all dramatically. And you're like, you know what? I think there's a problem. Right. And the way you're going to solve this by pressing that flat button on your right controller. But occasionally, when your device freezes, that's not going to work. And you're going to be like, Michael Forrest lied to me. One day I'll have my revenge. That's not what's going on. Occasionally, your device can freeze, right? And you're just going to need to restart it. Now, when I first got my Quest, I would restart it by taking it off my headset. And the problem with that, off my headset, really? I would take the headset off my head. I would remove it from my cranium, right? And what would happen is I would take that off, and occasionally I'd have, like, when my device was plugged in and it wasn't in a charge cycle, it wouldn't light up. And the amount of time it takes to reset the device is about 20 some odd seconds. And if you're in a rush, it can seem like a really long time. So I would constantly be thinking my device was broken, right? So I got in the habit, and I can't recommend this enough, knowing how to restart the headset while it's still on your head. And the way you do this is you take your index finger, right? And you swipe it on the right side of your device until you feel raised up bump. That's your power button, right? Now you take your index finger of your left hand and squeeze it together on the other side of your device, kind of squeeze them together, right? And once you squeeze them together, I find it helps to look down dramatically. So you have a deep concentration pose. And you hold it there for about 4 seconds. And after that, you concentrate so hard, your avatar disappears and you get plunged into the darkness, right? And in the darkness, you wait. And after about 10 seconds, you start wondering, why did Oculus make it take so long, man? I don't know. After 15 seconds, I start thinking about friends I haven't seen in a while. I wonder how they're doing. 20 seconds go by, I start thinking about, life, the big questions, those kind of things, right? And then all of a sudden, out of the darkness, the Oculus logo emerges like the bat signal. And when it starts to pulse, right, all you do is you take your hands away like that, right? And, your device will restart as normal. And this is going to fix most of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace, and not just in Altspace, but in other apps as well. This is usually going to take care of everything, right? But it's important to keep in mind that occasionally something more severe might happen. Like there was this one time I was coming out of Altspace and there was a message on my screen that said, Oculus Home is closing. And there was a blue button that said, okay. It was the only option. So I said, okay, right? And then the screen just said loading right in front of me, just floating in the air, the word loading. It wasn't doing anything else for a few minutes, right? So I did that deep concentration pose, right? And restarted my device and it still said loading when it came back on. And something weird was going on. So I asked Google about it. Google and I go back ways, right? And, always give me the good advice. And Google said a lot of people were having this issue, and the best thing for me to do was a factory reset. Now, it pays to know that this is an option, but you have to understand that you're going to lose all of your apps, all of your settings. If you have any pictures saved on your device, you're going to lose that too. So it's serious business, right? But if you do this, you won't have to pay for the apps again, right? And but it is serious. You may even lose your Beat Saber scores. Okay, so only use this in an emergency. To put the device back the way it was the day you received it. All right, so that's that's a good thing to know about. All right, now if you're here today, you already know about the Guardian system, right? You've done the tour, you danced with the robot, you played with the blimp, you had a good time with all of that. But you can actually use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace, and I'm going to show you how. Before I do, and this is especially useful if you're new to VR and you get dizzy from time to time. One thing you can do, even if you're not on a Quest, one thing you can do if you get dizzy in VR, I find this helps a lot, is if you actually hold your hand up to your face like this. I know that's not your real hand, but if you focus on that hand for a moment, you'll find dizziness kind of starts to pass. And when it does, slowly take the hand away and take in the world around, kind of reassess the situation, right? But another thing you can do is, let's say you're having a a room scale experience, right? And you're moving around your space. Okay. Now, what you can do is you'll notice. Now, listen, when you mess around with your Guardian, it pays to be very careful, because a lot of times in Altspace you see somebody walking along and they're having a good day, and all of a sudden, boom, they hit a wall, right? You don't want that to happen to you. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to damage your device. So if you're new to VR, especially, lead with your hands, and when you get right up to the edge of it, right, of your space there, you're going to see that the grid appears in the air in front of you. So let's say I approach right now my real world wall, right? I go up to that wall, and as soon as I get close to it, I've got that grid in front of me, right? But I can still touch my thumbstick. So I can move my avatar around in VR while I'm standing still in real life, right? So what I can do now is I can move it up to this screen here, and I can line up my real world wall with this display here, right? And this kind of gives me an anchor to the real world, right? And, so I can feel like a sense of connection to it. And let's say, oh no, I've fallen off the stage. I'm in the audience now, right? And let's say you guys aren't a nice crowd. Let's say you want to mess with me. Come make me dizzy, stick your hands in my face. Give me your worst you got, right? Try to throw me off. You'll notice I'm not losing my words. I'm not missing my places in my sentences. None of this stuff is happening. I'm completely comfortable. And the reason for that is because I can see that screen behind you guys. So then you guys aren't really even trying that much. Usually the crowd's got me practically blind at this point, but I can always see that display right in front of me, right? And as long as I can see that display, I'm anchored and connected to the real world, right? And you don't have to use something that big, right? You can use the edge of the stage here and line this up with the real world table, maybe your real world desk, right? And this will serve to balance you. You'll feel a little bit of connection. This will help you cut down on any dizziness that you may experience in VR. Okay, so that'll help you a lot. All right, another thing that you can do is you can transition from a room scale experience to a stationary experience without even leaving Altspace. All right, and the way you do this is, let's say I'm up here and I'm like, you know what? This is my second event today and I'm tired. I've done 300 events in Altspace, and I'm over 300 now, actually, and I'm exhausted. I can't go on. So I'm going to sit down. Now, what I can do is go up to the edge of my area here, right? And I can, make sure I got enough room to move my head through. And as soon as I move my head through, the pass-through camera goes off. Or if I'm using the new experimental feature, I can now double tap the headset on either side and activate my pass-through camera, right? It's a very cool thing. One of the great things about the Quest is they're always making these changes, and it's like they keep making the device better. So rather than sell you another one that does all these cool new things, they make your existing device do these cool. That's like when you buy a bicycle and somebody says, hey, in 2 weeks, that's going to turn into a car. I mean, that never happens. That's pretty awesome. I'm really impressed with that. So let's say I do that double tap thing and I can see the real world, right? And I say, I got my coffee right here, take a sip of that, and I throw it down because I've got no respect for my coffee mug there. I got to stop doing that. It's very messy, that bit. And then I go over and I see I got my chair over there in the real world. So I walk on over to my chair, right? And I go and I sit down in the chair, turn around, I get in there, right? Lower and down there. And then there's a button on my screen that asks if I want to have a stationary experience, right? The blue button. So I press that blue button, say that. And I'm going to find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. The only difference is my avatar is going to now be down about this tall, because on the Quest, you got to worry about your vertical height, right? But as you learned earlier, you just press down on that left thumbstick like it's a button, and you'll pop right back up, and all will be well, right? And this works in the other direction. I was moderating an event one time, and I felt like getting up and walking around. That was a big deal for me, right? So I figured I'd get up and I'd walk into my space there, right? But it turns out that on the Quest, occasionally your Quest can lose your Guardian, right? And, due to changing light levels or whatever, it can't resolve where it is in your space. And it just wants you to draw another boundary to help it out. Normally, that's not a big deal. But you know what? When there's 2 minutes left of the event, it's a very big deal. So I start to panic and I start drawing out that boundary, right? And I'm like, why is my play space so big? I don't know. And of all the times I had to moderate for an admin Dorian, why did it have to be today, right? And I'm just I'm going along there and I'm drawing out my boundary. And as soon as I close it, the grid pops up out of the ground. You know what I found? not only was I still in VR, but I was still in Altspace. I never left. All anybody's going to see, right, is your avatar frozen like this. Now, I always pause there, right, for effect. And it was this one time that I actually disappeared from the stage, right? Like, actually froze like that. I lost my internet connection. Had been happening to me a lot lately, right? And people standing in the audience going, "Wow, he's so devoted to the role. He's so invested. Look at, he's got an incredible range, right?" But really, what it was, I disconnected. It was actually pretty funny. We all had a good laugh. Back in 2 minutes, not a big deal. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah. Anyway, so what you can do is lost the idea. So you'll never all you people are going to see is that you're having an out of avatar experience. It's a good way to think of it. And you could transition from a seated to a room scale experience pretty effortlessly without ever leaving Altspace. So you can be comfortable, and it allows you to spend more time in events like this and others. Another cool thing that you're gonna find, right? And then this is not useful, just cool. All right. If you go up to the edge of your Guardian and make sure you got enough room for your head to pass through. If you move your head through it, the pass-through timer goes off, right? But if you do this super slow, right, you know what's going to happen? If you do super slow, you're going to see both realities at the same time. And this is cool because this is going to give you a sense of scale for like how big avatars are in Altspace, right? Because you may not realize this from just looking around, but avatars are about 6 feet tall and they're a lot wider than you would think. But it really drives it home when you see them in your living room or your office or wherever you VR from, like in a familiar environment. You'll be like, "Oh wow, we got BXX Payne is a lot taller than I thought he was, and Guest 19 with the blue hair is really, it really kind of matches my couch there. Not that I have a blue couch, but I'm just saying theoretically it's possible." All right, so yeah, it's just a cool thing to do. It's a lot of fun. All right, now the cool thing about the Quest is it just works. Okay. It doesn't mean it can't work better. There are some accessories that can actually make it work better. Those earbuds they have available that kind of dangle down from the sides? I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, right? But I like to think when I'm wearing these, because they're like, VR earrings, right? I like to think I look cool, and I don't know if I really do, but I like to think so. Anyway, the first time I wore these, I went to the campfire to test them out. And I'd had the Quest for a while, and I was used to the really great sound the Quest had. It's really rich sound. There's no feedback issues. It's a good experience. It really is. But I wore these to test them out, and I went to the campfire. And you know what? There's a breeze in the campfire. No one told me this, right? I wasn't aware. I've been in Altspace for like over a year. And nobody told me that, right? And I went over to that fence there, and I heard the water rushing by, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of ambient sound in Altspace that makes the experience way more immersive. It can make you, more fully present. And that's what this is all about, right? Because like earlier, I forgot to mention this when we were going through the buttons and the controls and stuff. There's going to come a time when you can feel the plastic in your hands, right? But there's going to come a time where these become your hands, right? And then, if just for example, if I say, "Hey, everybody, look out that window," right? I'm not thinking about how I'm pointing. I just do it. It takes more effort to explain how to do it. Like if you hold down your middle finger on the side controllers, you'll find that you're pointing, like BXX Payne is doing, and so Duck Knob is also doing. Perfect example of that, right? Now, if you do it on both controllers, though, right, you can give me a Brooklyn hello. Everybody go like this. Give me a Brooklyn hello. Yeah, there we go. That's the stuff. And if you put this together, you can give me the Altspace logo and hold it up high. Show me a little Altspace pride. Nice and high. Put it up nice and high there. All right, very, very cool. That looks awesome. First time I did Quest Time, I was really proud of me. Like 70 people doing this. It was awesome. If you twist it together, you can make kind of like a picture frame, right? Wouldn't this be cool if you could just like squeeze your trigger finger like that? You get the little shutter action. Wouldn't it be great if you could take a screenshot like this and be like, "Oh, you're a fantastic audience. I'm going to take this and remember this moment forever." There we go. Snap, snap. Right. And that's another thing. If you snap these, if you hold down the trigger button there, what you do is you get 2 thumbs up, right? Yeah, Michael Forrest doing a great job. 2 thumbs up, right? Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's like 2 thumbs down. Ooh, not so hot there, right? Maybe you don't know. Give me a little bit of both. And then there's this. I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is. I just know it looks cool. I do this a lot. I have no idea what it means, right? Just occasionally I'll be doing this just because, I don't know, it feels good. It looks cool. I don't know what it means though, right? Another thing you can do is touch your thumbs to the buttons or the thumbstick without pressing down. Your thumbs will go down. You can combine it into a cool dance move, all right? Now, I'm told this doesn't look as cool as I think it does. I don't care because I think it looks nice. You'll sometimes see me at the Universe going back and forth like this, right? All right, now, there is, people do think that the Quest is uncomfortable, and I know people that who've returned it for this, right? And honestly, it's not true. All right, and the thing is, Oculus doesn't advertise it enough, but there's a breaking-in period for your headset. It takes about a couple to a few weeks, depending on how often you use it, right? When I first got my headset, I actually developed a sore on my forehead because I was using it too much, and I thought, like other people thought, that this is too uncomfortable, right? But it turns out that the oils in your face actually soften the insert. And the springs will actually, once they break in, the balance will actually change on the headset. Now, a lot of people, when they try it and they think it's uncomfortable, they get the urge to modify their device with like a counterbalance or an external battery pack or something to change the weight, right? And what can happen is after the breaking in period, the balance changes again, and then they're just left with the impression that no matter what I do, this thing's uncomfortable, right? Now, all this stuff to add on is great if you wait a few weeks for the device to break in. Because if after a few weeks you find it still uncomfortable, because you should get to a place where you can't feel it on your face, right? It should get to a place where it just becomes your eyes in the same way that these controllers just become your hands. Like you're aware of it, but it's not really like you really think about it. You're just here with us in this space. That's where you want to be, right? And you can get some accessories that'll help with this. Like VR Cover makes these wonderful inserts that we have up here, and they feel like you have your face in a pillow that comes with two of them. And it feels like, and this way you can like wash one when the other was in use. You can make it nice and hygienic, and it's a very comfortable experience. But if you're one of those people who think the Quest is uncomfortable, make sure you go through the breaking in period first before you try to modify it, right? Now, another thing is you've got these prescription inserts that you can get if you wear glasses. You don't want to, listen, if you scratch your eyeglasses, that's bad enough. But if you scratch your eyeglasses and your headset, that can get pretty expensive. So this is a great preventive measure to take if you have like a prescription. Also, speaking of protecting your device, the box that the Quest comes in is fantastic, right? It really is. It's great. I use it all the time. But if you're going to be traveling and moving around a lot, one of these travel cases is really great because this way it won't bounce around. You can really protect your device better that way, right? Because listen, if something happens to your device, like you leave it on a counter and some sunlight comes in and damages your screen, right? It's not going to be like losing your toaster, right? If you're spending a lot of time in Altspace and you've developed friendships in here and closeness with people, right? You're going to be like, oh no, I'm never going to see Dargon again. Ever. Oh no, right? And you're going to experience it as an actual loss. Something happens to your device. So take good care of it. And hey, listen, if you want to try any of these products, we've made them easy to find. If you go to altvr.com and you go to the upper left of the page there, you'll see the channels button. And when you channels link, and when you click on that, you're going to see all these Altspace event channels. And down toward the bottom, you're going to see Ravenhall events, like it says up in the sound booth there. And when you click on this, you get taken to our event page, and you're going to see all these products listed on the left-hand side if you want to try any of them out. You also see a Join Discord button if you want to ask us any questions or help us put on events like this. And you'll also see the most important button on the internet. Yep, that's where they keep it. It's right there, the subscribe button. And when you press this, it lets Altspace know you enjoy our content. We don't get paid to do this, but every time we see that number go up, it makes us feel really good. Even more so if you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, that makes us feel awesome. And, lets us, it's a great way to say thank you and encourage us to keep on doing stuff like this. All right. So that being said, we are going to take your questions or your comments. Maybe I didn't mention an accessory that you want to, talk about or recommend. All right. And in order to do that, we're going to make a raise hand button appear on your lower right as if by magic. All right. What magic looks like in VR, really, truly, right? So all you have to do is press that raise hand button that you see on your lower right, that little hand with the circle there on your right-hand side. You press that and you'll get on my list, and I'll call on you, and I get to feel like a radio announcer when I say your name and you're on the air. While we're waiting for that to fill up, if you're on Twitter and you want to follow us, you can find us at _ Uncanny Valley. Right now, I know that looks like one underscore, but it is actually two. All right. Let's see. We got Buddy. Buddy, you're on the air. What's up? Where are you, buddy? I don't see you.
What's up, my dude?
Where are you? Hey, buddy, what's going on? How you been?
I don't know.
There was. All right. First of all, this basketball is for you because you gave me a compliment. Thank you. Here you go. Enjoy.
Yay!
That's for you. It just fell on the ground. Again. There you go. You got it. All right, give that a throw. All right. I don't even know what that means. I just felt like doing it. Actually, the pictures were drawn, by me. So yeah, I hired myself to do it. We got those down, and we tried to make them like a theme kind of a thing. But yeah, we did that on our own. Also we have, what's that?
They look like the characters of Jumanji. They look like characters from like a Jungle Adventure or something like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was going for questing type themes, right? Things where you go on a quest and you learn the things. That's kind of what I was going for. That's cool. I'm glad you saw that. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that a lot. All right, let's see. We got BXX Pain. What's going on, BXX? Where are you? Where'd you go?
Right here.
Get your hand raised.
Right here.
There you are. Your hand raised in the blue. How did I miss that? What's going on?
I was like, how did you get into this?
Well, I tell the story in Go Time. It's not really a big secret, but I was I had an illness where I was in bed for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I was really looking forward to get my headset. I got the headset, and all of a sudden, I found a way to be useful, and all of a sudden I had to be places at a certain time, and I kept putting a lot of work in it, kept trying to get better and better, and then I found, as a result of that, I was starting to move around a lot more. I started feeling healthier, right? So I think in that way, it was really helped me, kind of bounce back. So that's how I started doing this. It's my way of, being useful so that I can feel better. That's kind of it. Really. Let's see. We got Jack and Shy. You're raising your hand there. You got to press that button on your lower right. All right, if you want to do that. Also, in the meantime, if anybody has any questions, because we are about out of time here, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to press this shiny big red button. And if you guys want, right, if you have any more questions or comments that I didn't call on you, right, you can, we'll be taking questions at the Ravenhall Flight Academy. But if you want, you can come up on stage right now and help me press this button, because what's going to happen is something cool. At the end of our events, we take everybody flying, right? Let me make sure I get everybody unmuted for this, because I like hearing the reactions. If you want to ooh and ah, feel free. But you're going to see this button right here. We're going to press this. And when we do, if you look out the window, right, you're going to see the Ravenhall Talon hovercraft, which you guys can fly. It's going to fly right by the window there. It's going to go out over those trees and land in that backyard area, okay? So we're going to press this on 3 and put your back into it, man. 1, 2, 3, push.
Ravenhall
There we
Talon
go.
aircraft
Look out the window.
en route to
Look
your
at the window.
position.
Here it comes. There it's going down the block. Let's go in the back and let's catch it. All right, listen, if you've learned anything here today, please share with those you come in contact with. So if you're out exploring Altspace and somebody is, stuck in the ground there and you're like, what's wrong? And you're like, I'm on a quest and I'm stuck in the ground. Tell them to press down on that left thumbstick and they'll pop up and they'll feel better, right? You'll feel better because it helps somebody, right? And that's kind of how we keep this thing going, right? So let's see, the hovercraft here. And again, you can fly these at the Academy. Is landing.
Talon
There we go.
aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, everybody. You've been a great audience. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time.